Hey guys, it's Drea. Today I have an all-day wear test for you. Now this is not a first impression wear test. This is a product that I've used many times and I really love it. I've never done a wear test on my channel for it and I really wanted to because, you know, sometimes I might tell you something is great in a favorites or something like that, but it's always nice for you to see how it works on the face. So today I'm doing an all-day wear test with the Revlon Photo Ready Insta-Filter foundation. Mine is in the shade 220 Natural Beige. This is obviously a drugstore foundation from Revlon. Revlon is not one of my favorite brands. I don't love a ton of stuff from them, but I've been really impressed with this foundation. If you don't know me yet, hello, my name is Drea. I have very oily skin, and so I love to test out foundation, powders, primers, that kind of stuff for all of my friends with oily skin because it's really hard to make sure that your makeup is going to last from day to night or morning to evening or whatever, especially if you have like a full work day and that kind of stuff ahead of you. So I'm going to be testing this today. It is currently 12:15. I have a full day of work ahead of me. I'm working a shift from 1:30 to 10 today. So I will be checking in way later. You'll be able to see exactly how this foundation has worn throughout the day. And the way I like to do wear tests is I like to be able to still blot if I need to. I don't typically repowder anymore. I used to. But normally now I will just blot any excess oil off my face throughout the day. Typically I will start getting oily even with mattifying products after about 3 hours. So that's always a good gauge for me as to how something is going to wear on my face. So with an all-day wear test, what I always do is use Holy Grail products. I'm wearing Benefit Professional primer and I have my Revlon Stay Matte Mattifying Loose Powder as well, just to set the makeup because I do always need to set my foundation. And on this side of my face I used a brush. This is just a regular foundation brush, it's from Morphe. And then on this side of my face I used a sponge. This is a Real Technique sponge. I feel like I get the same kind of coverage with this foundation no matter whether I use a brush or a sponge. I don't find this foundation gets streaky with a brush, and I also don't even feel like a sponge shears it out all that much more than a brush does. So I feel like I still get the same full coverage that I want from this product, which it is full coverage, with either a brush or a sponge. So whatever your preference is, you should be totally fine. So this is a full coverage foundation. I feel like it really covers up any and all imperfections that I have, and it also has a really nice matte finish. So it's definitely not dewy, it's definitely not glossy in any way, it's just very matte. So if you want to, you can set your face with a dewy setting spray. I have set my face today with Urban Decay All Nighter, which again is very typical for me for any foundation, just to get me through an entire day. So just want to get real nice and close up, and I will do this again at the end of the day as well, just so you guys, my camera doesn't like it when I do this, just so you guys can see exactly how it looks when it's first applied, and then we'll be able to see later how it looks when it's stood up to 10 hours. Okay, you guys, I'm in the mall. I'm in a dark corner trying to get some good lighting, but there's nobody really around me. It's a little awkward, not gonna lie. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a update, close up. So it's 3:30 right now, so I've had this on for just a little over 3 hours. Like I said, normally at this point, if it was just like a regular non-mattifying foundation, my oil would definitely be coming through, and it's really not. Like, I think you can see my highlight is like a little bit more natural looking now. There's not that whole powdery look to my face that you get when you first put on foundation powder when you're oily, but like, so my oils are working their magic, but it's the magic hour right now. It's not like super oily mess, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to give you guys that little update, but yeah, this is how it looks after 3 hours. Hey guys, it's Drea again. So it's 10 after 10 almost, as you can tell. Yeah, so I am in artificial lighting, so I know it's not as easy to tell, but I'm pretty close up so you can kind of see how my face looks. So I put this on at 12:15, so basically been wearing it for 10 hours now, which is a full day for most people. Maybe it might be a little bit longer, but for me it's a pretty full day. And as you can tell, it still looks really, really good. After my last check-in, I did blot, but I have not added any powder, any setting spray, anything else to my face. It's literally just what I put on my face when I left today, and then I just blotted literally with a paper towel at work to get rid of any excess oil, and it's not coming off really anywhere. Sometimes I'll have foundation wear away like up here or maybe in this area, or a lot of the time off my chin. And with this foundation, I might see the tiniest little bit of like wear right here, but it's so minimal. Really, my nose is still completely covered, and also like in this area here, I'm totally fine. So this is why I love this foundation, because really it lasts all day on like the oiliest skin. Keep in mind that it is the middle of summer, but I've been in air conditioning all day. Now I have been hustling, because you guys know I work in retail and there's no sitting down for like an 8.5 hour shift, except for my break in the middle. And I have been hustling. So it's not like I've been out in the heat, but I have been moving all day long. It still, I think, looks very perfected on my skin. My skin still looks very like radiant, but not like super oily. It's definitely not matte anymore as it was when I very first put it on, but that's how it is with oily skin. Like, your oil is going to mix with your foundation and your powder. So again, this is artificial lighting, but I really do want you guys to see up close. I really need to wax my mustache, but I really want you guys to see as close as you can with this camera how my skin looks. So for me, there really aren't that many cons with this particular product. There are really only two, and that is the price. Now, for a drugstore foundation, it is pretty up there. The only good thing is, you know, sometimes you can find sales on drugstore stuff as opposed to high-end stuff where you really can't. But in terms of how this wears, to me, this is still as good as a high-end foundation. So the price tag in that respect, I think, is still all right. If you compare it to other drugstore foundations, it's very high, but if you compare it to high-end foundations, it's like quite low. So if you can get it on a sale, that would be the best thing. The worst thing about this foundation is the packaging. And I know lots of people have talked about this, and I have talked about it, but I really just want to kind of reiterate this again in this review video, because it has this sponge on the top. Now, when they made this packaging, I am sure, and I've seen these paid sponsored videos with people using this, where you actually, like, they've designed this to actually be used as the applicator. I've tried it that way. I didn't want to do it this way today because I had to go to work and it was not going to work, because I've tried it that way, and all it does is make it really streaky. Like, this is not a beauty blender here. This is not a beauty blender sponge, so it's not going to work in that respect. You really just need to apply it and then use a brush or some kind of beauty sponge to blend it out. And so that makes this sponge very pointless, and all this sponge now does is it sucks up your product. So this is not even a full fluid ounce of product, and the fact that so much of it is always constantly getting sucked up by this sponge just means that you're really not getting as much bang for your buck as you would with like a foundation in a pump. I just don't know how much actual product you're gonna get out of that 0.91 fluid ounces. Like, are you even going to get 3/4 of that based on this packaging? You know what I mean? So that is really the biggest drawback of this particular foundation. My plan for when I do eventually repurchase this, because I love it that much, is to probably just rip this off from the beginning. And whatever that mechanism is in there, hopefully it's the kind where you can just like somehow get it out on its own, and just like put it on your hand and go from there, because that's the way you're going to get the most product. So on the website here, they do describe this in so much flowery language. They talk about how this mimics the effects of app filters, so you have perfected makeup look. I mean, that is going a little far. I think that's a really trendy way for makeup companies to describe their makeup as being like an Insta-Filter. We all know that's not really the case in real life. However, I do think that this foundation is really full coverage and it is perfecting. I don't have a ton of acne though, or a ton of hyperpigmentation to cover up, so you always have to kind of keep that in mind with my reviews. This is more about oily skin, not necessarily about how it covers stuff like that. So that is it for this review. I hope that it really helped you out a lot. If it did, give this video a thumbs up because that helps me out. Also, subscribe if you're new because I'd love to see you around in the future. I am doing tons of reviews lately for oily skin people. I have a whole playlist, I will link that below, of previous reviews, different primers, powders, foundations especially, and I will be doing more in the future. So definitely subscribe if that's useful to you. And that's it for today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.